Picture a musical instrument. Consider every individual part. Think of the strings and bridge, the scroll and tuning pegs. Think of the fine tuning pegs and end pin. Most instruments can fit in your hand, or maybe two hands if they're on the larger end. Most instruments have a modest number of strings and they're mobile and don't require an expert to maintain them. The Salt Lake Tabernacle organ is not most instruments. The organ has 11,623 pipes. The two heaviest weigh about the same as a '92 Toyota Corolla. The instrument spans several floors, can produce distinct sounds as well as emulate instruments like a trumpet, is nearly 160 years old, can be played with a custom app, and it's even the iconic illustration on the front of the standard LDS hymn book. Joseph Nielsen, who is a master organ technician for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, gave the Salt Lake Tribune an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the Tabernacle organ.
So a lot of people think that this is the organ. This is kind of like saying that the cockpit of a plane is the plane. This is the control center.
Joseph is responsible for 8 organs, over 20,000 pipes on Temple Square. His duties include maintenance, making replacement parts, making sure each organ is in tune, and doing anything else that will keep an instrument singing.
In order to be an organ builder, you have to be the jack of all trades and master of all. And in a sense, you have to be.
It's the rare job that requires the analytical mind of an engineer, hands of a craftsman, and the heart of a musician.
I call it the temple of tone.
While the console and facade are what most people picture when they think of the organ, most of the organ is backstage and underground, far from view of the audience.
And arguably, the room is also the organ.
Nielsen even maintains that the architecture of the Salt Lake Tabernacle, aspects like the size of the building and the rounded shape of the ceiling, are so important to the sound that the building itself should be considered as part of the instrument.
The best place to hear the organ is not here at this console. It's more towards the middle or in the back. The way that the room grabs the sound, you will hear the organ back in the balcony, almost as if you're right here. The room has a tendency to refine the tone.
According to the church, the still unfinished organ debuted during the 1867 General Conference. The nascent instrument had just 700 pipes. 2 years later, its wood casing was completed, but it wouldn't be until 1915 that the facade would be expanded to its current iconic form. Over the 16 decades of the organ's life, it's been rebuilt, renovated, and almost entirely replaced. The instrument now inhabits several floors, and upgrades include things like electric power, a rotating platform for the console, and a screen so the organist can see the conductor. The most recent pipe expansion took place in 1984. Down 3 flights of stairs and through one locked door are 2 fans that produce the breath of the organ. The cobalt blue blowers rest in a chilled room, producing the raw wind energy that power the organ's sound.
Be careful, come on this side. This is the lungs of the organ. This is how it gets its energy to be able to produce sound.
Because Salt Lake City is around 4,300 feet above sea level, the main blower needs a smaller helper to create that last bit of energy to assist with moving the city's thin air.
The molecules are thinner because we're higher in elevation, and so this would have worked in Boston, but not so much in Salt Lake.
The air that the blowers produce is then distributed to holding chambers, called reservoirs, all across the organ.
This is how we get into the instrument. Underneath here, in this small little area, you can see where it comes up from the floor below, and it goes over into this big reservoir over there, and that's our main static.
In Joseph's modest office and workroom, there's an opening just large enough to crawl through. Inside is a weaving jumble of tubes that attach to wooden, coffin-like structures. These are the reservoirs. To explain what these are for, think about a trumpet and a bagpipe. To produce a sound, a trumpet player needs to be actively blowing into their instrument. As soon as they stop playing, the horn goes quiet. That's because the air is being directly routed from the mouthpiece to the bell. When a bagpiper is playing, they can take a breath and still make a sound with their instrument. That's because the air is first sent to a reservoir where it is then distributed to the drones and chanter. The tabernacle organ works roughly like a bagpipe. The turbulent air from the blowers is distributed to the reservoirs where it is calmed, so that the pipes of the organ can create a uniform sound.
A reservoir is something that fills with air, and it's pressurized to a certain pressure. Because it's from a fan, that pressure is not constant. And so the idea of the first static is to cut the pressure down, but also to calm
Above the
the
crawl
initial,
space is an array of pipes.
pressure.
These sit backstage of the console and facade.
This is one of the largest reeds. It is the largest reed in the organ.
To fit these reeds inside the building, they're bent in the middle like a U. The bend makes them easier to stabilize and access when they need to be tuned.
This low one right here is roughly 33 feet from this point here to the top. You can see the red felt there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's the tuning point. And sometimes you need to be able to get to that tuning point. If it was not mitered, these things would actually go through the roof. That's how big they are. Let's go down the next thing. Be careful as you head down there. This is C sharp, then it goes D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp. So it goes in that order. These particular pipes were done in the 1880s. And they've stood here ever since, partly because this particular pipe, which is low C, it's 34 feet tall and weighs roughly, I would say, about 1,100 pounds. So think of two pianos together is this pipe right here. This is the sound of low C. Okay, you can see that there's a wind. So you can see here, there's movement like this within the...
Joseph holds a switch that brings this set of pipes, called open flutes, alive. The flute uses so much air to resonate that it can move a plastic bag weighed down with hardware.
You can actually hear more of the upper harmonic than you can the bass.
The note is so low that our recording equipment can't do it justice. It's not so much that we're hearing the rumble, but we're feeling it.
Here it's more like, you're in a semi and you rolled the window down.
Like any instrument, the organ needs to be tuned, all 11,623 pipes. To see how the job is done, we were brought through a slender passage, past another reservoir, and up a narrow ladder to a small room that sits just behind the front of the organ.
We are in the pedals, so if you look at somebody playing the organ and you see their feet, they would be playing some of these pipes right here. It's much more stringy in its sound. You can see that there's wood pipes and metal pipes, but every one of these pipes was handmade. The wood pipes too, they're all handmade and they had to be cut and then planed and then glued together. You can see right here, this is the tuning point. And so this, as I shade the pipe, it goes flat. As I lift this up, it goes sharp.
To tune, Joseph plays a note from his phone.
So you can hear you can hear that. So I put my hand in front of it. That means that it needs to be flattened. So I will close this. Do you hear it lock together? When it locks together, it's in tune. And then that's the process of tuning. And each one of the pipes has to be brought to tune. There's always these outliers, these problem children. It's just in life where you have most everybody's working together, you just have a few people that are just like, whoa! And that's the same with pipe organs. There's a few that...
Joseph is about to conclude a 3-year mechanical renovation project. He estimates he's replaced over 70,000 parts during that time. Once that project concludes, they'll begin another one, this time a renovation to enhance the tonal qualities of the organ.
I tell everybody that whoever takes my job has to be passionate about the instrument, but not obsessed by the organ. So you have to have a respect for the instrument, but not be overly overwhelmed by it, because it can be overwhelming. So yeah.